All right. Peace and blessings, ladies and gentlemen. All praises to the Most High. Welcome to another episode of Taylor House Publishing. Y'all make sure when y'all come in the chat, y'all let me know where y'all from. Give me a what's up. If you haven't already, like, shared, and subscribed to the channel, please do so. Tonight, we have a special guest, my brother Heru. How you doing, my brother?
You already know, ready to get down.
All right. And you see the topic. The topic is, should we call ourselves black? And he's going to give us a lot of information on our state, the chemical makeup. He's going to talk about some alchemy and how it relates to, the foods we eat, our mindset, how we treat each other, how other people see us, what's going on. Appreciate y'all. So we're going to get right into it. The brother has a lot of good information. If you was on the show a couple of days ago, he called in and we were talking about, some issues dealing with the black race. So without further ado, I'm going to let him, just take the floor. But first, let me take a time out to share this live, and also y'all guys make sure you share as well. I appreciate y'all. I see y'all in the comments already. And let me go ahead and play the introduction. So that's going to give me some time to share the okay. What's going on? I see shalom. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let me go ahead and see if I can get this thing together. Yeah, definitely y'all make sure y'all hit the like button and share the show. And just give me 1 second while I share. There's big fat. There's no such thing as black. Okay, they already on it.
Already on it, huh?
Already on it. Just 1 second.
Let's go.
Wayne County News. Get ready to dive into everything happening in North Carolina with Taylor House Publishing. Got a story to share? Shoot us an email at taylorpublishinghouse@gmail.com. If you're looking to publish your book or need some top-notch mentorship, we've got your back. Join the excitement with the one and only Richard Taylor, right here at Taylor House Publishing. Speak with Richard directly at 919-587-7782. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and invite your family and friends to watch.
From Wayne County to the Carolina coast, Taylor House brings the news you love most. Tune in on YouTube, don't miss a beat. Local stories that keep you on your feet. Taylor House, we got the school. Taylor House Publishing.
All right, so we back. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. So Heru, give the people, why you're here. Give it, and let the people know what it is that you do and what you have studied.
Well, first of all, I consider myself to be an alchemist. So that's first and foremost. We'll explain that a little bit later, offer some clarification as we go along. But how I got introduced to your channel, obviously it popped on my feed, but the reason why your channel resonated was because, like I told you, I had a cousin who lost his life in the county, and they claim that he tied a sheet around his neck and then put the other part of the sheet in the toilet, flushed the toilet, and the power of the flush cracked his neck, and that's how he passed away. So, so when I started to hear your stories and stories of others, of course, we done heard these stories so many times, to the point that it becomes nauseating, and of course we become frustrated and angry. But we have common ground. We understand that we are dealing with something that is going to require a collective spirit, not an individual one. So, anytime that we can see forms and platforms like this, peace of Heru, that's what's up. All right, no doubt. So you already know how I'm gonna come, man, because I like it. I like the little, ain't no such thing as black. Because if ain't no such thing as black, ain't no such thing as white, brown, or anything else. But so yeah, that's what kind of got me to support. And, to me, like I said, any brother that's out there, any sister that's out there advocating for the truth in Mother Nature is all right with me. So, yeah, that's how that goes. But and on that point, so let's just kind of go into the meat of this. We're talking about blackness, right? So many people say black, and I've heard these arguments. People will be like, "Oh man, black is a societal construct. It doesn't in the Black Law Dictionary." And then they'll name a dictionary named after a color to state that there's no such thing as this color. And they'll say, "I'm not black, I'm brown," which will it will literally replace another color for another color. But one thing you have to understand about Mother Nature is that through color, she establishes order. Okay, it's just like if you were to go out and notice, even in the Bible, if you were to go out and the sun turned black, or the leaf or the trees were purple, and the grass was not green but violet, this would give you a sign that something was wrong. Color is about order. And if you notice from a chemical perspective, we're not talking in terms of a societal construct. When you're talking about chemistry, color has what's called an albedo effect. ALBEDO, albedo effect. And that is its ability to absorb the sun. We already know that all colors come from black. So we're not talking about whether or not, oh, I'm black and all of this different stuff. No, if you believe in the concept of melanin, you believe in blackness. There is no compromising it, because melanin specifically, which is our melanin, is the combination of black and brown. I encourage people to also read the book by Nina G. Jablonski. She's a professor at, I think, Southern California University, and she wrote a book entitled Skin. And I quote, says that the main property of your largest organ, called the skin, is to absorb the sunlight. Who has the highest albedo effect but the people who contain the eumelanin species, black-brown combination? Now, but first thing that we got to do is we got to establish, like Kendrick Lamar has did so eloquently in a lot of his music, that they're not like us. And they know that. So while we spend so much time harping and trying to deny blackness, let's see why we do such a thing. So what I want y'all to do is, what we're going to do is we're going to play a video clip first. So we're going to show you without a shadow of a doubt why these people are not like us. And we're going to show you that alchemy, which is the precursor to chemistry, is the science that they use in order to not only take over the world, but to sustain their stronghold that they have over it. So we're going to go to a video with Henry Nestle, who we all know about the Nestle Corporation. And we're going to start this off at the 2-minute mark. All of these videos are probably just to be about a minute long or so like that. But we're going to take from these videos because, in my opinion, I see so many people who frequent podcasts and shows and they don't provide receipts. They just talk. We're not going to do that because, unfortunately, a lot of us still are conditioned to believe what the Blanco says. So the Blanco's going to be my hype man for this segment. So without any further ado, let's go to the video at the 2-minute mark of this. Well, you could also have these for your receipts too as well. So like we said.
So that's the Nestle's Dark Secret.
That's the Nestle's Dark Secret.
All right. Hold on just 1 second.
Bar Open. Welcome to the Miami Open.
Millions of dollars, but risk millions of lives. The story of Nestle begins with the birth of a boy in Frankfurt in 1814. Henry Nestle was the 11th of 14 children and was born into a family of glaziers, where the trade of cutting and fitting glass had been passed down from father to son for many generations. However, as Henry got older, he became fascinated with chemistry and decided he wanted to become a pharmacist instead of going into the family trade, which caused a bit of a rift between him and his dad. But Henry was determined to follow his own path, and at 15, he began working as a pharmacist's apprentice before later leaving his hometown in Germany to go and live in Switzerland, where he worked on concocting medicines and chemical experiments. It was here in Switzerland that Henry would start one of the biggest corporations in the world. In fact, to this day, Vevey in Switzerland remains the headquarters of Nestle. But it wasn't until much later in his life that Henry started Nestle. Before his big break, Henry tried all kinds of different entrepreneurial ideas. Like he started producing and selling liqueurs, vinegars, rum, lemonade, and even fertilizers. But none of his business ideas ever seemed to take off. It wasn't until Henry was in his 50s that he finally had his big breakthrough. It all began when Henry read a report that infant mortality had become extremely high because many women couldn't breastfeed their children or their children were allergic to the milk. Henry realized this massive problem was also a big opportunity. There was clearly a major need for an artificial alternative to breastfeeding that could save countless babies' lives. And thus, Henry began to study all the existing information about breast milk and conduct a series of experiments in his lab with various different ingredients. But saving children's lives wasn't the only thing that pushed Henry day and night to find a breast milk substitute. His own tragedy also played a part, as Henry's wife had many health issues of her own, and thus was unable to give birth. So as a way to channel her maternal instincts, she became extremely concerned about other people's babies and pushed Henry to create a breast milk substitute that could save lives. And by 1867, he'd succeeded. Henry had created one of the first ever baby formulas, essentially a formulated mixture of cow's milk, flour, and sugar, which could be a substitute to natural breast milk.
So stop it right there.
A company called Nestle.
Okay, so notice dates don't lie. 1867. By 1867, this Blanco is already over here in the United States, and he's moved the cow over here. Notice what they said. Now, we can never confuse the Blancos' lives with ours, because as you can see, their women were struggling to even feed their babies. Their babies were rejecting the mother's milk. So they were frantic. They had to go ahead, bro. So you want
because I remember in slavery or back in those times, they used to actually have black women breastfeed their babies. So I'm gonna let you go with that.
Oh yeah, because during this time, remind you, because supposedly, remember, they finally found the solution in 1867. Because remember, the Civil War was when? The Civil War was from
1865, right?
It ended in 1865, right? So now you have what? Now they finally figure it out. They're like, oh, we freed from these Negroes, and we finally figure out we got to substitute breast milk. So remember, our spiritual animal when they came here was the buffalo. The buffalo was here by the millions, which is related to the cow. You have to understand that. The buffalo was related to the cow, but they had their own form of the cow that they were genetically modifying and engineering for thousands of years to fit their physiology and their biology. So a lot of this is half truths, but you get what's going on, because as you see, he's sitting up there saying, oh, we were concerned about other babies around the world. Even to this day, y'all saying we making too many babies. So obviously ain't nothing changed. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't for us. You know, it was for them. So they were showing you at a certain level that there is a certain there's a chemical inside that milk that was helping them to form as so-called human beings. And what was in there was something called lactose, right? But we've heard about this with women, because we know when a woman is pregnant, she's lactating. Okay. Now, most people don't know, when you are allergic to milk products, which is basically over 80% of so-called African Americans in this country, you are lactose intolerant. Lactose is a sugar. Okay, we have to understand that. So when you're saying that you're lactose intolerant, you're saying that you're sugar intolerant. Okay, along with many other things that's inside this milk. Now, the thing was that since they knew that about themselves, they also knew that they had to rearrange the chemicals that you were also taking in. We had to also adopt what they were taking in as our main staples of our diet. Hence, we know that dairy is the main staple of food here in the United States of America, which is primarily one of the reasons why Black people bodies are biologically unstable. So the point was that first they had to find out how to stabilize themselves, because they were biologically unstable. And they knew that not being able to be out in the sun is what caused this too as well. Because what does the cow eat in order to get that lactose or that sugar? They eat the grass, right? And the grass is a it contains a lot of glucose. This is where a lot of your glucose and fructose comes from, right? When you put glucose and fructose together, you make sucrose. All right. That's like a table sugar. All right. So they had to actually genetically modify that. So why is the Blanco doing all this? One thing that you'll find out is that the Blanco can never take the sun in its pure form. We know this because he can't be out in the sun. This is common knowledge, right? And so we have to ask ourselves a very potent question. If the Blanco cannot be out in the sun, how can he eat the food made from the sun? Okay, so this is why you have artificially derived foods. It ain't just because it's about saving money. It's because they can't eat the food that comes from the sun. If you're allergic to the sun, by default, you're going to be allergic to the food. So he had to find organisms that would break down the food, okay, in order for him to ingest it. Matter of fact, we're going to compound this. We're going to go and we're going to make all this. We're going to tie all this in together because y'all going to figure out how is this related to blackness. Oh, we're going to make this make sense. This is, you know what I'm saying? This is called the Einstein-Rosen bridge concept, where you bridge two distant points together. So we're going to work. We're about to actually take a look at another video. So let's go to the video with heme, the heme molecule, the heme burger, the impossible burger.
Oh, not how the sun sees you?
Oh, not how the sun sees you yet. Oh, we're gonna kill him with that one. We that's gonna be the bang. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna wait on that.
And somebody, Lex Will, just mentioned that in the chat. He was like, it's called How the Sun Sees You. So he was already on it.
Oh yeah. So to people who've seen this, but I'm gonna see if they understand the chemistry behind this though too. So it's some things that people overlook when they watch this video. So this is gonna be high science that we're delivering to you right now.
All right, we gotta wait for this this ad. Just give me a second. He said this starts at. You see this time set. Okay, so this is the one. All right, here we go. Let's go.
Food looks like this. It's a new operation run by a company called Impossible Foods that's churning out something that looks, feels, tastes, and smells like ground beef. Hell, it even bleeds like a medium rare burger. But this patty is actually all plant, a product of genetic engineering. It's the first step in an effort to take on the multi-billion-dollar meat industry.
You won't be disappointed in these steaks, man.
It's hard to overstate the magic of a traditional burger. The taste, for one, but also the smell and texture. That's thanks to lots of different kinds of proteins, most importantly myoglobin, which contains something called heme. That's the taste of iron you get.
When you're cooking a piece of meat, what happens is the protein that's carrying the heme, myoglobin and muscle, opens up, the heme comes out, and catalyzes a bunch of reactions that create the volatile compounds that really give that smell, that flavor that makes meat so compelling.
Okay, now stop the video.
Burger can't get the taste anywhere near right because they ain't got that heme.
Okay.
But hemoglobin molecules just.
Now he said they couldn't get the taste right because the plant didn't have the heme. Notice, remember he said that it bleeds just like a burger, but it's a plant burger. When have you known plants to bleed? So the reason why the Impossible Burger was discontinued was because these Blancos were putting blood in the burgers. Now, why would the Blancos be putting blood in the burgers? Well, I'm glad you asked. Hemoglobin, heme is a light ring. Globin is the protein, supposedly. Now, protein, and we I can go off and give you many articles that debate this idea of protein, but let's just say that we buy into this idea of protein. This protein carries a light ring called heme, right? And that's what they want. Now, there's two different types of heme. You have heme iron and you have non-heme iron. Now, heme iron comes from cows, anything with meat or myoglobin, anything with muscle tissue. Okay? Now what you have non-heme iron, which is from plants. Now, the reason why they say we don't get a lot of iron from plants is because it's harder to break down. But then you're talking to the plant people. So come on now. He know we absorb plant iron better than anybody else, but he's not going to tell us that. He can't absorb the iron from plants. So he has to get it from our animals. Okay? So the fact of the matter is that his burger wasn't tasting all that good because it didn't have its blood in it. This is particularly one of the reasons why you see that Blancos like their meat either medium rare or all the way bloody. All the way bloody. Because it is the iron that they need that they can't get because they can't really synthesize it from eating plants. Okay? So now what you have to understand from a blood perspective and also from a sugar perspective, which is kind of both, because remember, your blood runs off of glucose. Right? He's showing you at a physiological level, he is completely different from you. He has to take an animal that was genetically modified, because the cow that you see today is not how cows used to look 2,000 years ago. I hope our people know that. You see what I'm saying? The dog that you see today is not the dogs back in the day, because all dogs come from the wolf. Okay, I hope our people know that. So let's catch up to these things. They've been doing genetic engineering for thousands of years. All right. So with that being said, what you have is a people who literally, when they came over here, they had to kill our buffalo and replace it with the cow. Hence, you have the term cowboy. So that's what I was telling the brother last time I had called in when we were talking about the Beyonce thing. The reason why white folks see Beyonce as actually taken from them, because they really see themselves as cowboys, because the cow was their nutrient source. It was the savior for them. They were like, dang, how do we get away from these Negroes? And they found the cow. It's like, oh, we got this cow milk concoction and everything else, right? And then also knowing that they were surviving off of blood, but it goes way deeper than that. So what's my point? My point being is that, remember, heme is a light capturing molecule. Light capturing. So because this Blanco, once again, cannot be out in the sun, he has to be able to capture the light in a different way. It has to be in a reduced form, because he cannot take it in directly. This is what you have to understand. And the only way you can take in the full electromagnetic spectrum from the sun is if you have eumelanin, which is the black-brown combination of melanin. Okay? He doesn't have that. He has what's called pheomelanin, which is the red-brownish combination of melanin. All right? So he does have melanin. He just has what's called pheomelanin. All right, this is something important that you need to understand. So when we talk about black, let's get away from the societal constructs, go more into what the science of blackness is. So what is blackness? Let's introduce you to chemistry. How many people are familiar with the periodic table of elements? If you're an alchemist, this is your Bible. You see what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if the brother, can we pull up a picture of the periodic table of elements? Should we, just for visual purposes right quick?
Yeah, I can. Hold on. Let me see.
Hold on. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. Let's do this because we got to let you know we know the science, okay? We're not going to hold you up.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Get a bigger picture up here. Let's see if we got it. Oh, let's see. That'll give me a bigger one. All right, so let me see. I don't know if this is big enough to see, but we're going to try it. We're going to try it.
Just so they can see it. I mean, everybody has it in their head to a degree if you ever took a chemistry class. So they, we don't need to go through, because we just want to show them that we know what we're talking about. That's what I want to show people, all right? All right. So you probably can't see it now here. Okay, did it get enlarged? That was pretty good. Was that me doing that, or was that you?
Nah, that's you. That's you doing that.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. All right, no doubt. All right, now the carbon-14 group. Okay, let's see where we at right here, because I can't enlarge it, so I'm gonna have to go. Let me
see. I might can do it. Hold on.
Yeah, because I'm trying to
do it. Hold on. Let me see.
Okay, there we go.
Hold on. All right, let me move it up, son, so you can see real quick. Shoot. Let's see, is that better?
It's a little better, but
so let's go a bit higher. Hold on, let's go a little bit higher. All right, so let's go back here.
Well, can we push it up a little bit? Well, I can see where it's at now, though, because they got the group. So you can minimize it a little bit, and I can just show where the arrow's at. So if anybody got a periodic table of elements, this one's structured a little different, because usually in most periodic table of elements, the hydrogen is all by itself. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna go into that deep. So right now you have the carbon-14 group right here. This is the carbon-14 group. This is carbon, silica, germanium. You have tin, lead, flavorium. Okay. Now, brothers and sisters, when you go up, each one of these vertical columns are called families. So all of these vertical columns mean that they all are molecularly similar to one another. They all have something in common. Okay. Now, carbon is called the king of elements. Notice everything that I'm about to tell you is what Blanco scientists say. This ain't, oh, he sounds like he's some sort of conspiracy theorist. He's saying these big. No, these are all their terms. So if you got some conspiracy itch in you to talk about is Taylor babble or conspiracy babble, take it up with the Blanco. All right. Now, carbon is called the king of elements. First thing that we should ask ourselves is, if anything is the king, why is it the same size as all the other elements? I play chess. My king ain't the same size as the pawns because he knows it's going to be a dead giveaway. Silica, germanium, tin, lead. What's my point? My point is that as you go up the periodic table of elements, you increase in power what they call electronegativity. Okay, so carbon is not only the king of elements, but it's at the top. All right. Now, the reason why it's so hard for our students or our brothers and sisters to learn chemistry is because all these elements are either in Greek or Latin. That's why they don't match up. When you see this is silica, germanium, tin is SN, lead is PB. You're like, why is it PB? Because these are all Latin representations or Greek representations of these elements. Now, carbon is Latin for coal. Coal is decomposed plant material. Literally, his science that he uses to rule the earth is based off of organic chemistry. Your oil, your gas, your plastics, your products, everything comes from this table. Everything. That's what you need to know. Okay, so this carbon here is decomposed plant material. We know what decomposed plant material looks like. It's black. We know what oil looks like. It's black. Now, the molecular formula for your melanin is C18H10N2O4. That means it has 18 carbon atoms, 10 hydrogen atoms, 2 nitrogen atoms, 4 oxygen atoms. So out of the 34 atom molecule, 18 of your atoms out of that molecule is this decomposed plant material. This is what you need to know. Everything in this periodic table of elements is in your body. You are an organic metallic being, because I stress to you, it is not who you are that you need to be concerned with. It is what you are. Do you know that it's gold in your liver? Everything in this here is in you. Silica is right under carbon. It's in our family. So we continue. Silica is, when silica bonds with oxygen, it creates something called silicon dioxide. Now, why is that important? Because silicon dioxide is sand. Now, you may have heard this before in another term. You ever heard of Silicon Valley? You see how they take our science and create their artificial technology. And you got our people worried like, oh, AI is finna take over. AI is only a reduced version of you. Okay? So now that we know that blackness is carbon and all colors come out of blackness, we have now established the physics, not the like we said, what I would like to call the etheric and the the higher properties of blackness, not the societal construct that y'all used to. Oh, I ain't black, you calling me black and all. We ain't dealing with that. Get out of that. Remember, if people follow this idea that our people died from the lack of knowledge, come on and catch up, because they're using this science to run their matrix and nothing else. All right. So now let's go to a video on how the sun sees you to break this all down, to really put the nail in the head on all of this. All right. So we're going to take a look at some high science.
I won't give up to
All right, pause right there. Say, glass blocks UV. Now pause. So glasses look black. Now, glass is made out of sand. Hence, you see in alchemy, you ever seen the time glass and sand inside of a glass? That's symbolic in alchemy, because that means that something is inside of itself. Glass is made out of sand. Okay. Now, so when glass, so there you have these scientists running around with a UV camera. Now, what is UV? Does anybody know what ultraviolet light is? Because see, we be talking a lot of, let's not hold them up. Ultraviolet means royal purple. Purple is a royal color. This is one of the reasons why you see them playing with our royal colors with their political schemes. Because to make purple, you need red and blue. Hence the Democrats and Republicans, the American flag. They know they've been playing with these color schemes for a long time. Ultraviolet light it means royal purple. That's why we say that we have royalty in our blood, because the sun shoots purple rays at us. Come on, let's go. So what you're looking at is you're looking at the sun being absorbed by something that you perceive as clear. When you look at glasses, it looks clear. But when the sun looks at that, it looks totally black to them. Let's continue. Let the video continue to keep playing.
All right.
Summer in the city, it's summer in the city.
Woo! Yeah, oh my God. Pause the video. Oh my God. They walking around as imitation versions of you. So when you see them put on blackface, why are you upset? They always putting on blackface. So who's ashamed to be black? It should be them. We're not the ones walking around imitating blackness. They are. Okay? But remember, the sun can see them imitating you. You can't. So remember, your limitations is because you see in this small slither. Hold on, pause. Let's break it down. You have something called the electromagnetic spectrum. You have radio waves. You have microwaves. You have, what is it after that? I think it's infrared visible light. Invisible light is a small slither in which we see. We see invisible light, that small slither. So we are limited in how we can perceive life because we only see in a small slither. And what life really looks like to the sun and other beings is totally different than the way it looks like for you and I. That's why we have to be careful. All this, I don't see black and all that. The sun don't see it that way. The sun does not see it that way. So you're getting open to some higher knowledge. This is what you have to understand. This is what's going on. This is why they're robbing you of this eye, because it goes even further. Like we said, it's more than just blackness, okay? Because blackness holds all of the colors. Blackness holds all of the powers, right? So we may not be black in the sense, but we know that the vast majority of so-called brown and black people, our hair is black, our facial hair is black. We make something closer to purple, which is, really, it's really purple. It's not really black, but we make something close to blackness with our eumelanin when it comes to our hair, okay? And then we become more copper colored when it comes to the skin. But that does not mean that that's how we appear to the sun, because as you see, that dark skin, our sister, she looked completely black to the sun. And although that may be close to her complexion anyways, it just goes to show you that you will look darker to the sun than you will appear to yourself. That's what you need to know. All right. So when it comes to the political stance, socio-political stance, it may not hold no weight within the international community, nor may even hold no weight here nationally. But what you have to understand, in the Most High's eyes, when that celestial being that emits those rays, that full electromagnetic spectrum, you are seen as black or brownish black to the sun. And that's what you need to know. All right. So we also, what was the, did we have, I think did I have another video?
The coloring of the water.
Okay, all right. So so this brings me to my attention. So remember, you guys, I told you that the periodic table of elements is your key to understanding life. Now, if you look at that periodic table of elements again, you'll see in the halogen group, you have like fluorine, chlorine, and iodine. Now, a lot of our women, women's thyroid is twice as large. Go ahead, bro.
Nah, go ahead. You good.
Okay, a woman's thyroid is twice as large as a man's, right? Now, notice in the 1970s, they completely took all the iodine out of the food. And so it used to be at least 200% iodine in the bread. They took it out the bread. The last remaining places we could get iodine was in the salt, and now you can't even really get it there. Now, the reason being is because here you see fluorine. fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Remember, as you go up the periodic table of elements, you get stronger. So when we're in the presence of fluorine or fluoride chemicals, or you're using chlorine bleach to clean, it knocks that iodine out the way because it's stronger. So your thyroid would take up chlorine, bromine, fluorine, all because it's chemically similar to iodine. This is what they know. Now we go back to this carbon 14 group. Notice what I said: carbon, silica, germanium, lead. Lead is in our family, brothers and sisters. We're about to play the documentary that we're going to show. The science is in there. We're only going to play a short clip, but I encourage you to watch that entire documentary. Their chemists are in there. They'll let you know. If me and this brother right here were standing in a room with any white person, the lead would literally go around them to come to us. The lead would literally go around them to come to us because it's in our family. All right. And the importance of this is that they're going to show you anytime that you want to kill somebody, you create a weapon against them. What does the Blanco make his bullets out of? Enough said. Okay. So what we're dealing with is an articulated assault against us because they know that we're ignorant of chemistry. We're not scientifically inclined. We rather get into all of the spoof and the magic and the Kundalini rising and all. That stuff's trash. I'm telling you what they're using, and they're using it strategically, methodically, and with a vengeance to eliminate you from this planet. That is what you need to know. So let's play this video to show you, because let's not hear it from my own mouth. Let's see what the Blanco woman has to say.
All right. Can y'all see that? Y'all can't see that, can you? Can y'all hear? Can y'all see?
What, the video?
Yeah, y'all can't see the video. Okay, hold on. Let me try this thing again. It wouldn't share. Okay, there we go.
Man killed, and he was going to weld on a rotary drum filter, and somebody had washed it with a solution of sulfuric acid and pond water. Found out later the guy had struck an arc to weld on that thing, and it exploded. And it killed him, messed up his friend too, that was helping. Yeah, it's a very hazardous work environment. When you digest phosphate rock with sulfuric acid, that's what you're going to give off: hydrogen fluoride and silicon tetrafluoride. Now, even at that strength, it'll eat up concrete, asphalt, stainless steel, even the fume ducts after a while, which is made out of fiberglass. Very corrosive, the most corrosive acid known to man. Used to etch glass. It's used for a lot of things.
I think it's at the 42 minutes. Is that the 42-minute mark?
As far as the fluoridated drinking water, who in the world would want to drink water with this stuff?
It's just activity increases arthritis. Side effects:
feeling very cold,
right?
Hair loss, concentration issues. It really controls your metabolism. So I had gained about 10 to 15 pounds, which is very unusual. I was very athletic my whole life and never was overweight. So I gained weight. I was sleeping a lot. Again, your metabolism is tuned down. Doing the research, fluoride is an irritant to your thyroid. Your thyroid wants iodine. And if it doesn't get iodine at the concentrations that it needs, then it gets whatever is closest that you're providing in the environment. If you look at the periodic table, you see that fluoride, chlorine, bromine, and iodine are all in the same column. That means they have very similar electronic structure and reactivity. So that's why your thyroid will uptake fluoride and chlorine when you're not giving it enough iodine.
It's a gradual accumulation.
All right, enough of that. Just, I mean, because, you know, like I said, our people need the Blanco to say it too. You see what I'm saying? So like I said before, when you don't have something in your diet, you will get it. Your body will try to get it from the environment. I'll give you another example. When you come to simple sugars, the simple sugars are fructose, glucose, And I forget it's another one. I think it's 3 simple sugars. What'd you say?
Sucrose?
No, sucrose is when you combine glucose and fructose. Yeah. So it's another one. So like basically when they combine these sugars, they can literally make biological weapons. Now, we all knew about malt liquor in the hood, right? That's one of the most popular beverages for niggas, right? But of course they knew we was ignorant to chemistry. When you put 2 glucose molecules together, you make maltose. Hence you have malt liquor. So when you have people who are diabetic and they need glucose, this is why alcoholism is a disease. Because they know that our people want, the brain's going, where's the glucose at? The blood's like, where's the glucose at? Because glucose is the only simple sugar that produces ATP or adenyl triphosphate, which is the engine and the workhorse for the cell. Okay? So this glucose is desperately needed. And you know what they did? They got even more insidious. So they went and pushed this information over to the Japanese. And the Japanese end up doing what? They created something called high fructose corn syrup. Well, what is high fructose corn syrup? High fructose corn syrup is when you put, it's literally like a real strange form of sucrose. So basically, sucrose is supposed to be 50-50. 50 sucrose, 50 fructose, 50 glucose, right? So what the corporations were able to do, the government said, well, you know, you can go a little higher than that if you want to. And it was like, how about 70-30? 80-20, 90-10. So now you have 90, sometimes 99% fructose, 1% glucose in all your foods. So then the body says, where am I going to get this glucose from? The Blanco says, I'll help you with that. I'll put it in your alcohol. I'll lace it in your marijuana. I'll put it in your cigarettes. This is what makes it extremely addictive. And we're like, man, I just can't shake these habits. And this is why. I'll give you another example. We all know of niacin, right? We see this in our foods all the time. Niacin, we see it in our cereals and all of this different stuff. Well, if you notice in the earlier 20th century, the Blanco was infatuated with tobacco. He went around talking about it was a cure-all, right? He loved it. Even in the 1930s, his doctors were prescribing it to his patients to smoke. Okay, you can Lucky Stripes. You can look this up. All right. Now, so what he did was when he realized all his chemicals was hazardous, he started to put nicotine in his foods. You might say, how did he put nicotine in the foods? Well, he oxidized it. And when you oxidize nicotine, you get niacin. So you literally take nicotine in through the foods that you eat in the form of niacin. Niacin is an oxidized form of nicotine. You're welcome. And see, yet this is the chemistry that we're just not knowledgeable of. And we'll eat this crap and we'll be like, oh yeah, the Blanco said it was good, so all my vitamins and minerals. Trash. Throw his science in the trash. I repeat to you, there is no such thing as a Blanco scientist, since there is no such thing as Blanco science. There's only him using information to make weapons. That is what you need to know. So, I mean, we were 40 minutes in. I don't know if we got some Q&As. I just kind of wanted to go, you know, a little bit into it because, you know, we could do this all day. And I just didn't want to kind of overwhelm with the science and stuff. I just was, you know, we laying the groundwork because we want you to understand the properties of melanin in its black and brown form. This ain't got nothing to do with your, oh, I'm black and I ain't black. Don't call me black. I advise you to crack a book. You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. And so our people need to be more scientifically inclined instead of dismissing knowledge, which they say is that's why our people died. So if we don't have our people growing up in these fields and understanding that this is a chemical and biological assault against our people, then you've already lost before you've begun.
Yeah, you mentioned something before we was talking about how, like, and I've heard somebody say it too, they actually put stuff in your food that can make you act a certain way. I think you know, you said that you know, you wonder why the young people out there doing some of the stuff, and we blaming it on, you know, spiritual stuff, but it's actually the things they're putting in their body.
Yes, actually the fungus. It's a book called The Mind-Gut Connection. In there, they talk about the scientists who conduct experiments with the it's a fungus. This fungus, if you notice, this is why they say that cats are not supposed to be around pregnant women, because it's a fungus in them. I think it's called Toxinoma. What is it? Toxinoma gondii, right? Now, this fungus lives in cats, but it always attempts to try to get to the cat's brain, right? And it's always unsuccessful. So the cat poops it out, right? That's why a pregnant woman can't be by the cat litter, right? Because this fungus, if you touch it, it's going to get in you and it's going to try to get to your brain. Well, when the cat's out in nature, it poops, and if rodents run across it, the fungus leaches onto the rodent, gets into the rodent's brain, pinpoints the rodent's exact part of the brain where the rodent actually becomes attracted to the cat's piss. Okay, and then you'll see the rodent kind of like almost like a zombie trying to shake off the fungus, right? And then the fungus say, oh, well, if that's not going to work, it will go to a part in the cat's brain, the rodent's brain, to make it sexually attracted to the cat. This is all in the book, The Mind-Gut Connection. These are the experiments that they're conducting. So when we don't know the science, then everything becomes like medieval times. Oh, they got some sort of miasma, or they just going crazy. It's a demon inside them. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a demon. And it was concocted in a lab. You see what I'm saying? This is why you have to understand that they have been doing this for a very long time, and they got it down to a science, brothers and sisters. And the longer we spend time, entertaining all of the rhetoric, like, oh, I don't want to. And then a lot of us cats don't even want to read. I know some people that say, I was sitting up there giving my book away to one guy. I was like, man, I don't read. The only thing I do is chase women. I said, man, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. You got these Negroes around here. Don't nobody want to crack a book. But then I had a Baltimore educator tell me, he said, if you cannot understand what you have read, you cannot read. So it's just not about reading. People are like, oh, man, go look it up. If the man can't read, what's the point of him looking it up? We keep pushing people off. What our people need is not only knowledge, but they need understanding. Okay, and we have to have these teachers. Go ahead, bro.
No, I just see a question, and which is, I think is a very good question from Walt the Don. He said, "Are there any chemicals that affect blancos negatively that don't affect us?"
Yeah, the sun, the sun, and everything that come from it. You see what I'm saying? That's why, if you notice, get the book. It's called Melatonin, Your Body's Natural Wonder Drug. Melatonin, Your Body's Natural Wonder Drug. And in it, a white dude, these are blancos. They talk about how the blanco has just built a sophisticated network of a caveman. He said, we are modern cavemen. This blanco put sunscreen on, sunglasses on, go in his car, then goes into a building. He's hardly ever in the sun. And you got this illusion like, yep, he's just like us. That blanco's scared of the sun. This is one of the reasons why, if you ever had tinted windows in your whip, remember them times when back in the day we would get tinted windows and the police would pull us over? You're like, man, you pulling us over? Because you have to have a prescription for those tinted windows. Now, mind you, this is egregious. Look, let's go back to the documentary, to that video, How the Sun Sees You. Remember, in regular glass, it looks black with the sun. So not only is the sun being absorbed by regular glass, these blancos got to put a tint over it. So this shows you they got glasses on, suntan lotion. They in tinted cars. They running high to concrete building. And then they still like, oh, I think I got an irregular mole. It's not dawning on you, you're not supposed to be here. So what we have, this is just how it is. And then we've been saying, I wonder what the Most High is doing. Most High is doing their job. Do you know that the number one out of 3 cancers, according to the World Health Organization, is a skin cancer? The World Health Organization lists our sun as a carcinogen. They say that your sun is a cancer-causing agent. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates have all built supercomputers to figure out how to block out your sun. And I know you see it because you walk your black self outside every day, see all the streaks up in the sky, and be like, that looks normal. Ain't nothing normal about that. There's nothing normal about that. So while you sitting back debating about a nation, he's trying to eliminate your power source. You want somebody to cut your lights out? Then where will it matter where you live? What will it matter what you do? Who will it matter that you celebrate? Who will it matter that you vindicate? Your life is over with. Life as we know it will be over with. This blanco can't take nothing from the sun. And that is what you need to know.
All right, so and to that, because my brother Lex Will, he's sort of on the same path, but he said you said that black skin lets sunlight in. He said UV light destroys all flesh. That's what he said.
No.
Ultraviolet. Is that correct?
No. Well, no, there's two forms of ultraviolet light. There's ultraviolet A and ultraviolet B. Suppose it's the ultraviolet B that's bad for your skin. But you have to understand, if that was what was bad for our skin, then our people would have perished a long time ago. We've been on this planet indefinitely, man. We survived. The tropical region is literally, if you're in the tropics, it's hot all day long. Look at our people. Are them Africans over there wearing suntan lotion? How many skin cancer cases do they have over in Africa? I'd like to know. Don't get caught up in Blanco science, is what I'm trying to tell you. He's making you fear what he fears. That's why you got to get out of this stuff. There's no such thing as Blanco science. You can't eat what he eats. You can't read what he reads. And unfortunately, we had to because we're in his tongue. But the sad reality is that somehow you have to translate that information to work for you. And that's what the alchemical process is all about, brothers and sisters.
Somebody asked a great question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Somebody said, did the Blanco die out from the sunlight?
Of course, because this is what you got every so often, as you see in these critical points in history, the Blanco has to then come back to us to then get a little bit more of our DNA. All right. This is what it's an interesting movie based on a true story called The Rabbit Proof Fence. Rabbit Proof Fence, based on a true story. It's when they go to Australia. Now, mind you, in Australia is number one for skin cancer. Queensland, Australia. And who's number two is the United States, right behind them. Okay? So when they went to Australia, they kidnapped the Aborigines and the Aboriginals, and they bred in with them. They took the women, and then they said by 3 generations, we could stamp out the blackness. No, they need your DNA. They need the fungus and bacteria that comes along with you that harnesses light, and they need that. So every so often, because when the Blanco begins to procreate with itself, they have all sorts of problems. That's why they have to always, in order to be successful, most of them have to go through what's called IVF or in vitro fertilization. They cannot naturally procreate with themselves. Okay? So in order to get that genetic variability, as they call it, every now and then they got, here we go. I got to come back to these Negroes. And so what they'll do, they do it in arrogance. You see all the other Europeans, like the Japanese, like, come on, black man, come over here. We'll pay you $700 to impregnate our women. The Blanco here, he'll just start problems with y'all. Oh, you black women, y'all don't like black men. Black men don't like white women. And then he'll do it that way. And then, but you know what? You'll have a whole, listen, look this up. It's called the brown babies phenomenon. The brown babies phenomenon took place after World War II. All right. When Hitler was in power, after Hitler got disposed of power, there was this brown babies phenomenon because everywhere, you know, black men like to go. We like to procreate, right? And the most brown babies that were made was in Germany at the height of Nazi supremacy. You see the trick? I thought y'all was the tippity top of the top. You know, but yet they women couldn't wait to sleep with Negroes. Just like now, back in the day, you couldn't whistle at a white woman. Emmett Till is proof of that. Now they giving them away like lilies in the field. And you saw it. You can't see the trick. I don't know what's wrong with you. But I'm on them like back pockets. So like I said before, bro, we got to understand how the game is being played. They need that genetic variability because it is incumbent upon them to do so. Otherwise, they're not going to survive on an organic planet. Remember, organic just means the study of carbon. That's what you're talking about. That's why I tell you all the time, like, oh, I eat organic. That don't mean nothing. He just telling you, he just put, it's carbon in it. Oh, these Negroes are dumb. He could throw an organic label on anything. It's got carbon in it. True. True. But see, what he knows is that your food is missing the biological activity, the microorganisms that's supposed to be on it. Because remember, he tells you that your gut is full of good germs. But just like germs have suffered the same thing that Negroes have suffered. You spend so much time saying germs are bad, don't nobody want no germs. But then they'll say, oh, well, you know, you need some good germs. E. coli, yeah, if it's in your gut, and the staphylococcus, if it's in your gut, and yeah, if the salmonella, if it's in your gut, it's going to help you to digest food. But when it gets out of your gut, that's when you're in trouble, Negro. What determines that it gets out of my gut? See? And so we have to start asking these crucial questions because we'll end up perishing for lack of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So
Explain, because before you was explaining like how the fungus and the bacteria that you need, like so a lot of people, I've heard mushrooms are good. That's a good fungus, but like explain to me why that do we need those bacteria? You mentioned the probiotics and things like that. So explain to the people, why do we need those things that have forever been told of us? Bacteria, fermentation, all those things.
Wow, that's great. Okay, because right now, like I tell people, I recommend you get you a supplement like this. Probiotic. It has the prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. Okay, now what is that saying? We let this Blanco. Now, what is an antibiotic? We all know what that is, but let's break it down. Anti means against, bio means life. Anti-life. He puts 80% of his anti-life goes into your chicken and your beef. And then you wonder why you get sluggish and your body's destroying itself as you get older. Now, probiotics is pro-life. But then he never tells you that in order to feed the probiotics, you need prebiotics, which is like that stuff like, you don't need to remember none of these terms, but that's kind of like, it's called galacto oligosaccharides and fructo oligosaccharides. These are all these type of sugars that feed the fungus inside of you. Why is this necessary? Okay, let's understand something. In your gut is called your second brain. Okay, for good reason. There are more neurons in your gut than there is in your spine. Okay, brothers and sisters, this is why it's called your second brain. All right. Now, you have something called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve travels up both sides of the body. This is why a lot of times when people get diabetes, they feel them sharp pains in their legs. Okay, because 90% of the information that is sent to your brain is sent to your gut. The brain is sent from the gut. The brain is always waiting on information from the gut. Always waiting. Like, what do you got for me? Okay. And so when these yeast poop, they poop out what's called metabolites, right? And these metabolites are your hormones, neurotransmitters. They're the ones that break your food down for you and then send that information up back to you. So what did the Blanco do? He took out an all-out assault on these microorganisms, pesticides, fungicides, insecticides, rodenticides, killed the soil, straight murdered the soil. Okay? And then what happens is in that he constructs or concocts food that only feeds specific bacteria and fungus. That's how he knows it's going to be a pandemic. He knows it's going to be a super germ. You see what I'm saying? So we got to really watch out for this month, because this month is his god of war. March is the god of war, not just the start of spring for him. In the Roman calendar, March is the god of war. And if you notice with that last Trump interview, you got to start noticing the symbolism, brother, because the world is ruled and communicated through signs and symbols, not through literal senses, okay? Not through literal information, all right? So basically what we're saying is that what he did, he constructed, like we're going back to the cow, your milk, your cheese. These are all containing bacteria and fungi. If you notice when Blancos go to the store, they got a whole aisle of that yogurt, ice cream, probiotics. Oh, you're like, God dang, what's going on here? And they looking healthy for what they do. Now, granted, they don't look healthy long. They age like bananas, but they call us monkeys. But the point is that we still see them benefiting from their science. Have you ever noticed why they experiment on lab rats that are white? Mice that are white? Ain't no white mice in nature. I'm looking out for me. Nigga, it's your job to look out for you. Okay? So this is what we have to understand. So when we're dealing with, the cheese, that's all fermented. The wine is fermented. Alcohol. And see, I tell people, if I'm going left on you a little bit, understand this. Much of what we eat is all fungus and bacteria. Your bread is made from yeast. Your alcohol is literally yeast eating sugar and pooping out alcohol. Synthetic sugars, aspartame, erythritol, they're all fungus poop. All you've been eating is fungus. If you like cheese, you know that's all you eating is fungus. Okay? But what type of organisms are you finding yourself ingesting? A very good book by Michael Pollard, Sugar, Fat, Salt. He documents how these companies literally have big institutions that are dedicated to studying your genome and then creating products that attack your genome so that they can basically justify whatever it is that they choose to. But you have to understand this science. So it comes about from us feeding our gut the right bacteria, which is going to do what? Revitalize the body. Okay? This is why the ancient Sibyl in Egypt was the scarab with the dung. You see, the scarab beetle was rolling the dung and it would place its babies inside the SH whatever, right? Or the dung or the feces, right? Flies do this. Out of this comes life. If you're a gardener, you know this. You take chicken manure, cow manure, horse manure, pig manure, and you even got your bare hands. You're like, oh, this is some big dirt. I'm about to grow some big plants. And life comes out of that. Okay? So also, like the brother stated, it's a new therapy. You can look this up. It's actually called fecal microbial transplantation. Now, that's all fancy, but what that is that they literally take a healthy person's doo-doo and put it in some capsules and feed it to another person whose digestive system is out of whack. In the early 1930s, white doctors used to prescribe to couples to eat each other's backside to get good bacteria. I cannot make this up. But see, I research them. I know them better than they know themselves. You think you study them. I study them. I study them like how they study us. And we need people like that. See, we need people to look outside the science because so many of our people say, oh, our women are intelligent, they're getting all these degrees. Degrees in what? Degrees in foolery? You can't tell me this Blanco science works for you. It doesn't. And so, like I said before, it is the knowledge of the earth from a perspective of carbonated beings. And I will leave on this note. I will tell you this. This is not the nickname that I came up with. The nickname for our family group in chemistry, they call us the crystallogens. If I was to say that, then they'd be like, oh, hey, well, here you go on this conspiracy talk. No, I didn't come up with that name. That's their name that they gave to us because we contain carbon. So we're organic beings. And we have to understand how monumental this information can be when we really embrace chemistry for what it is, or alchemy for what it is.
I appreciate you, man. We are going on an hour, so I don't like to go over an hour, but I will go over a little bit. Y'all put y'all some questions in the chat. I know I missed a few when my brother was cooking, but y'all made some very statements. I saw a lot of them going with the social construct of what black was, but you said that's not what we're talking about. So people are talking about.
But, I mean, they can continue to keep saying black is this, black is that, but we're not going with.
Someone said, "What types of food do you eat?"
What type of food? It's got to be alive. It's got to be alive. I start off with my probiotics and prebiotics, and I do everything is mostly fermented for me. You see what I'm saying? Because like I told the brother, I'll be 45 years old this year. I can't play no games. Health is wealth. You see what I'm saying?
What type of water should we drink?
What type of water? I mean, ultimately, I have a 7-layer filtration system. You have to invest in your water. You see what I'm saying? Because, if you don't, then, water is what activates all of this through the process of what they call hydrolysis. Hydro, water, lysis, meaning breaking down. Water breaks down our food. Without water, you're not breaking down your food either. You see what I'm saying? So, of course, we want to be able to filter our water, but we got to understand. Some people say, oh, I do the reverse osmosis. Well, reverse osmosis takes out all your minerals. You see what I'm saying? So if you have a reverse osmosis filter, you also want to have what's called a remineralization filter that puts the minerals back in there, or something that you can add with the minerals. Or remember, the minerals is not going to mean a dang thing if you don't have the living organisms inside you to break it down. Okay? It is the bacteria and fungus that breaks down the minerals in food for you. So they can harp all this about vitamin C, minerals, this and all that. Make sure that you get a pre, post, and some of these become like this. This supplement is prebiotic, postbiotic, and obviously probiotic, right? So it contains 15 different strains. It contains 5 or 6 strains that are no longer in our soil, brothers and sisters.
What
So, yeah.
somebody said what's the information for your page so they can hear more? What's that information?
Oh yeah, dang! I ain't been on my page in such a long time. Let me go to my page. I ain't dropped a video in a year on my page, but I will be back on that page in a couple months. I'm just waiting. I'm going. I'm waiting till my house undergo an inspection so I can move back in my house. Okay.
So look, they said so. One person said you don't eat fried foods or soul foods or nothing like that.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
None of that. I mean, I don't. If you do, that's you. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I don't. Because that's the thing. I think when people say I don't eat something, they act like I'm against it. No, if your body can tolerate it. My granddad is 95 years old and he's lived off of hot dogs and pork. You know what I'm saying? So, but then you think about the quality of life. He's not as mobile and fast like me. I want to be fast and strong as long as I'm here. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's I think quality over quantity, if in my opinion. But no, I never get on people for what they eat. I'm just telling you that you have to actually make sure that you put more of the living organisms in you than anything else. And when you start, like I tell people, get the book, The Mind-Gut Connection. Read it. It will transform you. It's called The Mind-Gut Connection, okay? I don't just say this stuff. I'm telling you, this is a science that they're on, brothers and sisters. This will change your life, all right? So let me...
Yeah, go ahead and get that, man, because we got to get on out of here. But I certainly appreciate your info. You definitely know we're gonna do this again, man. It's been very enlightening. And somebody said, where can they order those probiotics?
You can get this one on Amazon. Amazon has this one. It's called Natural Life Labs.
Natural Life Labs. Okay. 70 billion prebiotic, postbiotic, probiotic.
Natural Life Labs. Awesome stuff. And then also, like I said, they got these health food stores up here. So they got, the colas, that's prebiotic drinks and stuff like that. So I stay working out, prebiotics, probiotic. And then you hardly eat after a while. Like, you just eat something, they munch it up, give you your energy. And I don't eat as much because I used to eat too till like I felt like it was a hole in my stomach. Like, where is the food going? And I ain't gaining no weight or no, you know what I'm saying? I was frustrated. So that book a year or so ago was an eye opener for me to find out that information and to implement it and to find that it works, no brain fog, the ability to think, retain information, process information. It's just bar none. So, I mean, to me, it works for me and I've had no issues. And I think that, our people need to really tap into that. But my channel is Heru Heinous 7775. You'll find a lot of this information there. Things that I've done. I've done hour videos on all of these things from, the sugar in the beer, all that, the poison that I'll go into all of this science. So if you want to be brought up to speed for much of the stuff that we went over, then definitely take a look at the channel.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat, man. So
okay,
appreciate you. I thank everybody for tuning in and engaging with us. Once again, take the information, research, do your research, chew on it, and we're definitely probably going to have this brother back soon. But I appreciate you, my brother. I appreciate you in the chat. Any last words before we go?
Oh, yeah. My woman is God and my God is black. That's it.
All right. Okay. Peace and love.